Hi guys, welcome back to my channel Lush Gardener. So in today's video, it is going to be a requested video because somebody had asked me about what kind of environment I belong to. So I thought I will make a video on it because yes, it's been really long. I have always spoken about the temperature and the type of environment that I have, but I haven't mentioned where I am from. But I'm sure a lot of you might have guessed it by now with my thick accent. Yes, I am from India. So basically, I am from the south part of India, which is Bangalore, and I'm going to talk a little bit about my city because there are some interesting facts about my city. Now in this video, I'll be talking only about my city's environment because in our country, every city, every state has a very different diverse environment. Either it can get too hot or too cold. So I'm not very sure about how the environment is in the other cities. I'm just going to be talking about my city. Now my city, Bangalore, is located in the center of the Indian peninsula and it is not very far away from two of the coastal areas. But my city has an elevation of around 3,000 feet above sea level. Because of this, the city benefits both the monsoons with a perfect merge of sunlight and rain, which provides an ideal condition for a lot of plants to grow. Now, during the British colonial times, a lot of plants were imported into my city. Because of the ideal condition, in order for them to understand whether the plant is going to do well or not, whether it will adapt in our Indian environment. So the plants were imported from the Europe and they were planted over here, and of course the plants started to thrive, the trees started to thrive over here because of the ideal conditions, as I mentioned about our city Bangalore. Even though the coastal areas are not very far away from my city, but still my city is on the dry side. The reason is because, as I said, it is elevated above the sea level. Any place that is elevated above the sea level, that is where your succulents will thrive, because of course the environment is dry during the day and during the night the humidity levels tend to rise. So this becomes a very ideal condition for our succulents because during the day they do not do their photosynthesis, they kind of rest, and during the night when they get into the process of doing the photosynthesis, that's when there is a good amount of humidity and that tends to help them a lot. Apart from that, the summers in my city, the temperatures don't rise above 34 degrees Celsius, which again, it's not very hot or it's not something that is out of their comfort zone wherein they have to go dormant. It's very pleasant. Probably by the end of March, the beginning of April, the temperatures might rise another degree, probably 35 degrees, but we don't have to be worried because the moment the temperatures rise up to 35 degrees Celsius, it starts to rain and the environment gets pleasant once again. And then after the summers, it's our monsoon season, which can last really long. Now, the monsoon season generally starts from the south part of India. We are the first ones to receive the monsoon season or the rains, and then we also have a very prolonged retrieving monsoon. Right now as well, it is a little bit cloudy, though in many parts of the country it's already winters. Over here we are still experiencing a little bit of rains, but overall the environment is very cold, it's very pleasant. That's why you can see most of my succulents are also getting colored up. So we have the summer, we have the monsoon, and then we have a last season, which is winters. Now again, as I said, the summers are around 34 degrees Celsius. It's not too hot, it's not out of their comfort zone. The same thing goes with our winters as well. Most of my succulents do not go into dormancy because the winters, the minimum temperature during winters can go up to 18 degrees Celsius, nothing less than that. We do not experience snowfall or frost. It is manageable. It's not very cold that the plants are going to die. So that's why my plants are outdoor throughout the year, because both the summer and the winters are not extreme. It's in their comfort zone. A lot of my echeverias also tend to flower during the winter season, which is supposed to be their dormant period. That's why I advise you guys to check your environment before you do any kind of cutting or leaf propagation, because you might be from a location wherein your succulents might happen to go into a strict dormancy. The same thing does not apply in my city. So this was the overall thing about my city. We do not experience a snowfall. We do not experience a really high summer temperature. So that's why all of my succulents are outdoor and they perform really well. The only season, that is the monsoon season, where I have to be extremely careful, that is when I tend to use a plastic sheet over them so that they do not come in contact with rain. Because over here, when it tends to rain, it can rain for consecutive days. It can rain back to back for 3 to 4 days. So we have to be extremely careful. Even though my soil mix is very loose, porous, well draining and gritty, but still I have to be extremely careful because there are certain varieties that might not do very well when they are exposed to prolonged amount of moisture. That is why you might have seen most of my pots are earthen pots. The soil is gritty, the pots are small, so in case if I have forgotten to cover them during the monsoon season, and if the soil tends to get wet once, I don't have to be worried they will not get rotted, because one, most of my plants are underwatered. Secondly, I have a very gritty soil mix. I have pots that are very breathable, porous, like our earthen pots or papercrete pots or the concrete pots. These are the type of pots that I use. I do have some plastic pots, but let's say around 95% of my collection are in earthen pots or papercrete pots or concrete pots. So this tends to pull out all the moisture from the soil if there is any excess amount in it. Apart from that, I live on a terrace, which is an open terrace. There's a lot of air circulation, there's a lot of light, lot of sun, so the soil also tends to dry faster. So all of these combination tends to work out really well, and hence I don't have to get any of my succulents indoor. Being said that, in my last video I made a video on moving of the succulents. Now please do not take it wrong. You will have to move your succulents if you are from a place wherein you experience snowfall. Of course, you cannot leave your succulents outdoor. That video was only meant for people who are moving their succulents every day, indoor and outdoor. But you can definitely move your succulents once a season. Keeping your succulents out in frost is not going to help. They will get rotted. So that is when once a season you move your succulents indoor during the winters. Once the temperatures get warm outside, that is when you move them outdoor. So that is movement of succulents once a season is absolutely normal. That is not going to damage your plant. But of course, if you are going to move them every single day, 7 days a week, that is definitely going to hamper their growth. So that was all about my city. Of course, my country has a very diverse environment. It's not only diverse in culture, but it's also diverse in environment. There are certain parts in my country wherein they experience snowfall. At the same time, there are certain parts have sand dunes and deserts. So we have snowfall, we have deserts, we have a very tropical environment, we have coastal areas which are very high in humidity. So we have a very diverse environment inside one country. Even though we have only one time zone, but we have a very diverse environment. Even though I'm able to grow a lot of varieties, it is not going to be the same thing with other people who are living in other cities in my country itself, because they are going to have a very different environment and climate. So just like how people watch my videos from other countries with different environments, in my country itself, people who watch my videos also have a very different environment. It will be nowhere similar to my climate. That is the reason why the information that I give on my channel, it's more in between. It's not only related to my climate. Like the soil mix that I share with you guys, the gritty soil mix, loose, porous, well draining, this kind of soil mix is going to work out for every person, whether you are from a dry environment like mine or if you are from a very humid environment. The pots like earthen pots, concrete pots, it's going to work out for everyone. That is why whenever I make some videos, I try to specify that if you are a beginner, don't get a particular succulent, because you never know, that succulent might not be very good in your environment. So that was all about it, guys. This is the reason why I have an upper hand in growing succulents. It's all because of my amazing city with an amazing climate. So guys, that was all about it. I hope that this video was helpful to you. If it was, please hit the like button. And if you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing to it. Until then, take care, stay safe, and keep propagating.